Nothing says motherhood like jolting out of a sound sleep to the wretches of a small child. You swoop to comfort and assess the situation, but it's too late. By the time you affirm what is about to occur, the warm and pungent sensation is already dripping down your back. Pulling chunks out of your hair, you blink disbelievingly into the darkness. Nature couldn't be so cruel, and yet she is by design. Remember the whole pregnancy and birth thing? I devoured pregnancy and birthing books, much like I could plow through 5 servings of natural peanut butter in one setting. Propelled by my desire to be the best mother possible, I hunted down the answers to successful mothering. I was certain that given enough research, I would transition gracefully and skillfully from woman to mother. I was wrong. Nothing you read or piece of advice anyone gives you will prepare you for the devastation your new bundle of joy will cause to your previous existence. Everyone talks about the pure joy and sheer exhilaration you feel when holding your own flesh and blood for the first time. Yes, there's that, absolutely. In fact, I walked around in a state of bliss for the entire first month after my perfect, angelic baby boy was born. And then the sleep deprivation set in. And the paralyzing realization that this baby's needs would come before my own for the rest of my life. The fact that I was exhausted and my nipples were cracked and bleeding from overuse did in no way deter my son's enthusiasm for nursing at 2 a.m., and again at 4 a.m., and again at 6 a.m., and so on, every 2 hours around the clock. Everyone around me told me to enjoy these precious early months, that before I knew it, my baby would be asking for the keys to the family car. I remember thinking wretchedly that 18 years couldn't go by fast enough. The first 6 months I spent as a mother were the longest of my life, and the crow's feet and gray hairs are still with me to prove it. My precious baby didn't sleep through the night until he was 9 months old. And for you non-mothers, sleeping through the night for an infant is an uninterrupted 5 hours of sleep. So a 10 p.m. to 3 a.m. shift is some wise medical person's idea of sleeping through the night. I'm guessing they're at liberty to stand behind this bullshit definition because they've never lactated. Mothering for me has been a huge slice of humble pie. At times it's been downright degrading. My daughter Seraphina was only 4 weeks old when I began working as a wedding consultant for an upscale boutique property in Lake Tahoe. It was a cold December afternoon and I was meeting with a hip and charming couple from San Francisco's Russian Hill District. We were discussing in excruciating detail whether guests would prefer a warm mushroom phyllo tart or a honey mustard glazed pork tenderloin on a potato crisp. When I caught sight of my husband, I tried to look every bit the part of an interested, concerned wedding specialist as my husband paced outside the restaurant window directly in my line of vision. I could tell by his rhythmic bouncing my baby girl was crying and hungry and had been for some time. My phone, lying on the table, then flashed a message confirming what I already knew. My husband had forgotten the bottle, and I was the closest food source. The sight of my infant and the knowledge she was hungry and needed me was enough to start my maternal flow. The sensation was unmistakable, but I prayed that the scratchy pads I had tucked into my nursing bra for just this reason would protect me from the unthinkable. I fumbled for a reason to excuse myself as Bridezilla loomed in front of me with a faux smile pasted to her face, unable to comprehend that anything could possibly be more important than her big day. Despite her disapproval, I rushed out to rescue my baby and hunkered down to nurse in the nearest supply closet. I stifled a giggle to myself as I thought of what my selfish bride had in her immediate future. For it wasn't so long ago I was the blushing bride, aglow with possibility. Now my adoring groom saw me as little more than a dairy cow. A girlfriend with older children took pity on me as I later recounted the story to her. "Oh girl, hang in there. You're in what they call the trenches. You're down in the mud, belly crawling and scratching your way to any little piece of sanity or bedtime. It gets easier," she said. She told me with a chuckle that was more chilling than convincing. And though the trenches metaphor is disturbingly accurate, the mother goddess version of motherhood is also true. Mothering has uncovered a dimension in me I didn't even know existed. When my husband and I met each of our children for the first time, I was overwhelmed with the purity of love both times. Love for your child is like no other love. It is pure, white, ever-expanding light. There is no word to describe it. Only a lifetime spent enjoying it can possibly contain it. And so while I absolutely mourn the loss of my freedom at times, I wouldn't trade the 4-hour sleep shifts and the 3 a.m. vomit-induced wake-ups for a single day of my former life. But I can tell you with absolute conviction, my decision to have children when I was in my 30s is affirmed daily. I savored every last selfish and narcissistic moment my 20s had to offer. I traveled and closed down Spanish nightclubs at 8 a.m. I drank too much, overdrew my checking account, bought expensive shoes, and made mistakes only a single reckless woman can indulge in. I explored careers and took a non-linear approach to life and work. I celebrated life alone until it seemed there must be something more. Then my husband showed up at just the right moment and knocked my lonely existence out of orbit with his authentic vulnerability. Unlike the horror stories of early parenthood, the multiplier effect of love between a husband and wife and my 2 beautiful children is indescribable. I am now absolutely Tiffiney times 4, exponentially better. Happy Mother's Day, fellow mothers. This is the hardest damn club I've ever been in. Thank you for inspiring me with your grace and humanity. And to my own mother, thank you for all the things you did that I never even noticed. I love you.